CNN with case studies. So while coming to artificial intelligence in intra-relationships, so as of you, we know these are the very trending terms at nowadays, artificial intelligence and machine learning. If you observe this diagram, artificial intelligence is the superset. So these are subfields: machine learning, artificial neural networks, and deep learning. So while coming to artificial intelligence, so artificial intelligence is nothing but machines starts thinking and they will take decision independently. So I will tell you an example. Artificial intelligence is used to create smart machines. So smart machines means, I will give you an example. So coming to some usable items. Suppose if you take your bike, it is a non-intelligent machine. It may not think. It may not give any decision, right? It may work properly. If you compare it with Tesla car, so Tesla car is the best example of smart intelligent machine. It may take decisions independently without any human intervention. So artificial intelligence is the broader field which enables machines to think like a human. So next, coming to the machine learning, if you observe the diagram, machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence. So machines learns from data. So machines learns from data through some algorithms. So the final goal for the machine learning is nothing but to achieve artificial intelligence. So next, coming to the artificial neural networks. So some of you see people may know what is meant by artificial neural networks. So it may taken from bio-inspired machine learning models. So next, coming to the deep learning. So deep learning is nothing but subset. This is the type of artificial neural network. It is subset of machine learning. So deep learning mainly deals with large amounts of data and automatic processing. So here, artificial intelligence is a broader field, machine learning is a subfield, deep learning is also subfield of the machine learning. Here the final outcome for machine learning and deep learning ANN is to achieve artificial intelligence. Final goal is artificial intelligence. So next, coming to human intelligence. So how these terms are introduced? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. So how these terms are introduced? So these terms are introduced from human intelligence. These are invented only from human intelligence. Suppose I will tell you an example. So in my childhood, I want to become a doctor, suppose. So we know our human intelligence will come from the main organ of your brain. If you see this diagram, this is a human. So this is human brain. So our thinking capability, everything will comes from human brain. So I am thinking that I want to become an engineer, suppose. That is my goal. So then what the brain will do is, it may plan to achieve that goal. It may plan to achieve that goal. So further, after some time, what will happen? Specifically, it wants to achieve a goal. It started working towards achieve the goal. That is called as, inspired from machine learning. So machine learning is inspired from this concept. And finally, deep learning. So what happens after some time? If you want to become an engineer, you have to study mathematics and nothing. You have to do specific task, right? So your brain's thinking specifically to achieve that outcome. So that is called as, is nothing but deep learning. So these concepts, proportionality. So based on these concepts, what I am telling, human intelligence, these terms are introduced: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So once again, I am saying machine learning and deep learning. The final goal is to achieve artificial intelligence. So where do these terms are introduced? Where the terms are started? So what is the basic idea? So artificial intelligence concept is started from early of 1950. So artificial intelligence concept. Then machine learning was introduced around 1980. They started, and finally the next subset is deep learning. So deep learning is started from 2010 onwards. So nowadays there is a lot of research in machine learning as well as deep learning. So these terms are already in research: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So coming to machine learning. So if you observe the diagram, machine starts learning. So just now we see subset diagram. It is nothing but a branch of artificial intelligence, and machines learn through algorithms. So machines require a data. Machines require a algorithm to learn. So I am saying machine learning is a statistical tool to explore the data. If you observe this diagram, see all these machines, this is just a cartoon. to understood about machine learning. Here, these are the machines start learning through algorithms, right? So these algorithms learn from real data with which a model is generated. This model allows predicting what class or what type of class is a new data. So once the machine is learned the data, then what will happen? Then if you give a new data, it may predict which class it is. So that is the application of machine learning. So I will give you some friendly example for machine learning. Suppose this is a human, and here the task is getting the fruits from kitchen in the top floor. This is his house. So he wants fruits from kitchen in the top floor. The kitchen is situated in top floor, first floor, suppose. So here the fruits are there. So what he will do, he starts walking and he entered into the house. So what human will do, I will explain. So he entered into the house and he start climbing into the steps and he go to the kitchen and he take the fruits. So this is human intelligence. Suppose the same example, if I tell to the machine, then what will happen, we will see. Right. So this is your machine. So here I have to tell. So in previous session, GS and Raju sir also told computer is nothing but a baby. So you have to tell the machine completely what steps it may execute it, right? You can see that steps. So here the task is same, getting the fruits from kitchen in the top floor. So you will give some instructions to the machine, then only it will give the outcome. So what those instructions you can see? Initialize the machine. So first you start the machine. So here you can tell go to the left 10 meters. There is a steps. So if we travel 10 meters, there are steps and start climbing 6 steps. So you have to give these type of instructions. Then after climbing 6 steps, then what is the next step is find the kitchen. Find the kitchen and get the fruits. So you have to give some data. You have to prepare some algorithm to the machine starts working with that algorithm. So here data is in machine learning. The data is also very, very important and algorithm is also very, very important. Right. So next, what is the types of machine learning? So I think you already know, some of you already know. There are two different types of machine learning algorithms. So one is supervised machine learning and other one is unsupervised machine learning. So supervised machine learning. So just now I told that data is very, very important for data and algorithms are very, very important for achieving machine learning tasks. Here, the data is with a label. The data is with a label. Here, if the data is with a label, the data set is having with labels, then it is called as supervised learning. See this figure, this example figure. So this is my data. Here, this is my data. So here the label is duck. So this is not duck. This is duck. This is not duck. This is the label and this is the data. So if any machine learning algorithm works with respect to the label, you should have a data with respect to a label. That is called as supervised machine learning. Then what will happen? This is supervised learning. So this machine learned data with respect to the label. This machine is learned data. These images are my data and these are my labels, corresponding labels. So if I give this data to the model, so model is already learned, then what will happen? Then if you give a new data, so model is already learned. Model is already learned. If you give a new data, it may predict whether it is a duck or not a duck. It is my application, right? While coming to the unsupervised, then what will happen? That it is only present data. There is no label. So unsupervised learning will work on a data. So it does not contain any label. So based on characteristics only, it may start grouping. So what unsupervised learning will do? So based on the characteristics, these are birds, these are animals, this is fish, like that. Based on these characteristics, they may separate the groups. So these groups are called as clustering. So here, supervised machine learning algorithm is used for classification problems, and unsupervised learning machine learning is used for clustering type of problems. So if you have a data, the data is corresponds to a label, then you can use supervised machine learning. If you are having only the data without label, then you can go for unsupervised learning. So here I will give you a brief overview of machine learning. See, this is machine learning. Just now I told supervised learning, the application is classification, duck or not a duck. So here unsupervised, so the data without any label. So these are different classification applications: consumer retention, diagnostics, image classifications. You can use the supervised learning, classification as well as regression. So sometimes I want to predict not only the class label. So suppose I want to predict a value. So after 5 years, what happens to the car price? What happens to, suppose if you want to predict any value, then it is called as regression. So if you are telling only label, either class 1 or class 2 suppose, then it is called as classification. So supervised learning algorithms are best suitable for classification problems as well as regression problems. So while coming to unsupervised, so just now I told, a data without a label. So based on the characteristics only that may forms a groups, that is called as clustering. So these are some of the applications of unsupervised learning, clustering, as well as some part of dimensionality reduction. Dimensionality reduction problems also you can use unsupervised learning algorithms. So there is another type of machine learning. So majority of the work we will prefer only supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Then one more type of machine learning algorithm is called as reinforcement learning or semi-supervised learning. Suppose if you have a data, so some data is having label and some data is not having label. Then you can go for semi-supervised learning. So it is also called as reinforcement learning. So majority of the problems in AI ML domain we will use supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Right. So how to do a machine learning approach? How to solve with machine learning? First, you can just we talked about supervised data and unsupervised data. Suppose I have supervised data. Suppose I have some images. So then what I have to do? So we know supervised machine learning algorithm application is classification. So what I will do? I have some images with label. So I will take useful information from the images. Or I will take some, suppose if your input is signals, one-dimensional signals with label. So then what I can say, I will take useful information from the images or useful information from the signals. If I extract those things, that is called as feature extraction. Then, so once the features are extracted, I will use one complex algorithm to train the data. Nothing but machine starts learning with the known data. That is called as training. So once this machine learning algorithm learned with label, then it will be acts like a predictive model. Whenever if you give a new data, it will tell you about the new data. Suppose I have two different types of images. One is cancerous image, another one is non-cancerous image. So what I will do in machine learning, I will take useful information from those images and I will apply it to a machine learning algorithm. So once machine learning algorithm is trained, then I will take another new image, I will apply to the predictive model, then it will say whether it is a cancerous image or non-cancerous image. So that is in case of supervised. So in case of unsupervised, so just now I told data without label. So data without label, here I will take some images and I will extract useful information from the images. That is called as feature extraction. So then I will train it to the machine learning algorithm. So once I trained it to the machine learning algorithms, it started grouping. That is called as, that is the application of unsupervised algorithm. The application is nothing but clustering. So based on the characteristics of the data, it may separate like a groups. So that is grouping of the objects. Here the common term, if you want to apply machine learning algorithm, the first step you require is data. First you have to analyze the data. If it is labeled or not labeled. If it is labeled, then it is called as supervised. Its application is classification. So what type of class it is. If you are having a data without label, then your application is clustering. Nothing but grouping. Right? So here the common steps for unsupervised, supervised. So wherever if you see machine learning, you will identify these steps about the data, extracted feature from the data, then your algorithm. If it is supervised type, you can go for classification. If it is unsupervised, you can go for cluster. So this is the standard approach for machine learning. So just now we have talked about classification, clustering, everything. Just so we can see what is meant by classification. So classification is nothing but categorization of input data into predefined classes or categories. I have a data, I want to separate the data. Then it is called as classification. Just you can observe this figure. So this is my classification model. My input data is consisting of both vegetables as well as groceries. So classification is nothing but separating, creating groups. So here, once you give these inputs to classification model, so what it will do, it may separate vegetables with respect to the groceries. So this is nothing but classification. So just now we observed standard machine learning approach. So what happens? Your data with respect to labels may mapping from input futures to the corresponding class labels based on training set. So once your machine is learned, then if you give a new input, it may classify whether it is a vegetable or grocery. So that is classification. So majority of machine learning and deep learning will work for classification. Means separating the data. So here I can have some examples of classification. So generally we have three different types of classifications. So one is binary classification, and the next one is multi-class classification, and the third one is multi-label classification. So binary classification. So you are classified between only two different types. Say yes or no, suppose. So you are classifying in between only two classes. Suppose if you classify more than two classes of same type, that is called as multi-class classification. You are classifying more than two classes of same type. So what is meant by multi-label classification is, so you are classifying or you are separating more than three classes of different type. That is called as multi-label classification. Once you can see the examples, then you will understood what is meant by, see this is, so I am here, my task is, I am getting a mail, whether it is a spam or not spam. So we have a disease, suppose, whether the person is diabetic or not. Right? Here only two classes. Suppose if a person is suffering with cancer. Right? Suppose if you want to classify whether the person is suffering with cancer or not. Only two classes. That is called as binary classification. That is the best example. Next, multi-class classification. We are having more number of flowers. You are classifying different flowers, more than two classes, then it is called as multi-class classification. So if you see these images, so here spam or not spam, cancer or not a cancer, fraud or not a fraud. So these are called as binary classifications. So here you can see multi-class classification. So you are classifying 0, 1, 2, 3. Suppose I am classifying different flowers. We are having different flowers, more than two classes, then it is called as multi-class classification. While coming to multi-label, suppose you are classifying more than two classes of different types. Suppose I am classifying birds with animals with fish or something. If you see this image, suppose if you are classifying more than two classes of different type, that is called as multi-label classification. So these types of problems, machine learning and deep learning are very much suitable. So somewhat in depth we can see, just now I told, so this is it is a binary classification. Clearly if you can see, so there is a line, it is separating two different classes, right? So examples we can give. Suppose if you have a tumor, it is a benign or malignant. If you are classifying only two cancer, diabetic or not a diabetic. So you are classifying only two classes, then it is called as binary classification. Here my class output labels are either you can choose 0 and 1. That is enough for binary classification. If you see this multi-class classification, here having three different types, right? This is called as multi-class classification. So multi-class classification will be classified more than three classes, more than two classes. So somewhat in depth I can say, right? If you see that image, suppose this is my image by digit classification. So some of your BTech students or MTech students started classification problem. Then see this image. So this is my input image. Whether I can classify it is 5 or not a 5. Suppose you trained with different number images. Then you test your model with any one of image. Suppose 5. So my outcome is either it is 5 or not a 5. Then it is called as binary classification. It is classification is done in only between two different classes. So here you can see multi-class classification. Suppose I want to classify three classes. more than 2 classes, then it is called as multi-class classification. Suppose if I introduce A, B letters in between 7, 8, 7, 8, A, B, 8, suppose 9. So here you are classifying more than 3 classes of different type. Why? Because it consisting of both digits as well as numbers. So then it is called as multi-label classification. Right. We are mainly focusing on this topic. The topic name is called as deep learning. So some of you already know what is meant by deep learning. So just I will quickly refer about deep learning. So what is the term deep? So deep refers to number of layers in the network. Number of layers in the network. So whenever if you increase the number of layers, the depth of the network is increasing. So see these images. This is, we know already this is a simple artificial neural network. This is your input layer, this is your hidden layer, and this is your output layer. This is a simple neural network. So each neuron transforms the information, sends the information to the other neuron. Then other neurons get activated, and further it is sending to the next layer. So this also inspired from human brain only. Artificial neural networks is also inspired from the human brain only. So here this is a simple neural network. So just now I told deep learning is the subset of artificial neural network. So deep learning is also one of artificial neural network. So what is the difference is number of hidden layers. If you observe these layers, these are hidden layers. Here we represent only one type hidden layer. So here the number of hidden layers. So each layer will transforms the data to the other layer. We already know each. So this is called as connection. So each connection is built with some weights. That depends on your algorithm. Your input is multiplied with your weight and added by a bias. If you go with mathematically, each and every neuron is having some input with multiplied by weights plus bias. Bias is common to all the neurons in the network. Then it sends the data to the next neuron, and the neuron get activated by an activation function. Every neuron is active. So if you want to study in depth, you should have require what is meant by a weight and what is meant by a bias and what is meant by activation function. So deep refers to the number of layers. So here number of hidden layers. So each and every stage your data starts transforming. Your data starts transforming. The final goal is to achieve your ultimate task. Your output layer will achieve your ultimate task. So deep learning is a type of machine learning. So just now we have seen deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Model learns to perform classification tasks directly from images, text or sound. So you can use it for different inputs, 1D input, 2D input and 3D input. So deep learning is essentially suitable for classification tasks. So here just now I told multiple levels of layers and it will use to the next layers. So that is called as abstract of features. So if you increase the number of layers, your level of abstract is increasing. So once if you observe deep learning process, what will happen, once this network is trained, so I am applying number of images, I trained the number of images with deep learning network. Here I cannot take any manual input. So if I just, once the network is trained, once the deep learning network is trained, if I give an image, it may give the output. So if it says that it is a photograph. The image corresponds to the photographer image. Everything will do automatically. Once your deep learning model is trained, then if you give input, automatically it will tell you the output. So in between there are different layers. So you have to take care of those layers as per your application. Next, I want to explain the difference between machine learning and deep learning. So this diagram will clearly explains you what is the major difference in machine learning and deep learning. Right, this is your input with a label of car. So what you will do if you apply machine learning, you have to extract useful information from the input. That is manually. You can take these image features, that is called as feature extraction. So feature extraction will be done by manually. So then what will happen? Those features you have trained with your algorithm. Trained with your machine learning algorithm, then machine learning algorithm will predict it is a car or not a car. It is human intervention is there in case of machine learning. So while coming to the deep learning, what will happen? Once the machine is trained, once the network is trained, if you give some input, so automatically extract features. There is no manual intervention. So here you can extract features manually. Here there is no need of extracting features manually. Deep learning network automatically extract the features. That is the excellent application of deep learning. So everything will do by the network. Feature extraction with classification will be done by this network. So once you give your input, automatically the features extracted. Then the network is trained. If you give a new image, automatically it will tell it is a car or not a car. So here automatic, it is called as automatic classification. But here there is a manual intervention. So once your input is there, you can extract useful information from the input. Then you can train. Then your predictive model will tell you it is a car or not a car. But what happens in deep learning? It is automatic classification. So once your network is trained, then if you give an image, so feature extraction plus classification will be done in this network only. That you have to arrange your network. So based on your application, that you have to arrange the network. Then your predictive model will say whether it is a car or not a car. So while coming to the deep learning architectures, so in previous slides we discussed about machine learning, supervised and unsupervised. But in case of deep learning also we have supervised and unsupervised learning. Supervised means data with label. Unsupervised means it contains only data, there is no corresponding label. So here supervised learning, the examples of CNN, convolution neural networks. This term you already, I think some of you already know what is about CNN and recurrent neural network. So if you want to do supervised learning, you have two options, CNN and recurrent neural networks. So in case of unsupervised learning, you can go for self-organizing maps or autoencoders. So here convolution neural network is the good example of deep learning beginners. So coming to the recurrent neural network, so deep learning, so CNN with some memory is called as recurrent neural network. So here the examples for RNN are LSTM, long short-term memory, and GRU, gated recurrent unit. So this is for supervised learning and unsupervised learning of deep learning architectures. Right. So where do we use machine learning? Where do we use deep learning? That is the task. If you see the graph, so x-axis refers to amount of data. So machine learning or deep learning, data is very, very important. This is amount of data. So this is performance. If you see the graph, if the data is slowly increasing, then what will happen? Machine learning will give the good performance compared to the deep learning. Up to this point. If you increase beyond this point, if your data is continuously increasing, if you are working with large volumes of data, if you observe this, so machine learning got saturated and deep learning its performance starts improving. So whenever you can choose either machine learning or deep learning, that depends on your amount of data. If your data is less, then machine learning algorithm will give you good performance. But if you are working with deep, if you are working with large amount of data, you are having 2,000, 10,000, 50,000, 1 lakh images, then you will go for deep learning. Here performance, if you observe the performance graph, if the amount of data is increasing, at some point machine learning algorithms get saturated and deep learning still starts increasing, right? So here one more point I want to say is, so deep learning requires more computational power. It is nothing but it is working on large amounts of data. It requires more computational power and it requires more training time compared to the machine learning algorithms. So you can decide based on your data and based on your application and based on your requirements, you can choose either machine learning or deep learning. Coming to the applications, so what type of applications for deep learning? So self-driving vehicle. So you all know about Tesla car, autonomous car. So without giving any driving inputs, it will take automatic decisions and it will go. ATM rejects a counterfeit pattern. So whenever we are having ATM deposit machines, everybody know, whenever if you insert the money, if there is any fake notes are there, it will automatically reject. So that is also one of the best examples for deep learning. So these are like some basic examples. There are a lot of applications of deep learning. So I will say some of applications. So I mentioned health monitoring. So in healthcare sector also deep learning plays very important role. So just now I told you can classify either cancerous or non-cancerous, diabetic or non-diabetic, or you can classify different types of cancers. So in healthcare also deep learning is having a very good example, good part. In other face recognition, your mobile phone is having face recognition, so that is also one of the deep learning application. Text translation. If you open Google and you can give the text and it may translate it from one language to other language. Voice recognition. So voice-based inputs, voice-based classification systems, deep learning is also playing a vital role. Traffic sign recognition, speech recognition, image recognition, clustering, whatever it is. There are a lot of applications for deep learning.
Generally, for large data, we prefer for deep learning.
Yes, yes.
And for small data, machine learning, we say
Machine learning, yes, yes.
But in self-driving vehicle or face recognition, what type of large data we can expect as a data set?
Self-driving and self-driving vehicle means if you want to drive a vehicle, you require a lot of images. We don't know whenever if you see from car bonnet or car monitor, we may see different type of figures, either road or trees or different types of images it has. Millions of images it has to drive. So whenever if you go for a driving with a car, you will observe a lot of images. So those all images got trained in deep learning. So in case of face recognition also.
So are they suppose we are adding the data set of our images?
So your
what is the maximum extent we can collect and what's the maximum?
No, in case of face, right? If you give your image, it may detect. Why it is not detecting me? If your college is having 4,000 people, it rejecting 3,999 people and it may accept only one. So that is also a good example of face recognition.
No, my point is we will give the data set of our image.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
So why can't we make this example for machine learning? Why we go for
No, you can use in machine learning. You can use it in deep learning also. You can use it in deep learning also. So not I am saying in mobile. If your organization is having more number of 3,000, I am just telling an example. Face recognition system. I am telling about only face recognition system. It is not a mobile. Suppose if it is an organization.
Is there a threshold value which discriminates machine learning from deep learning?
There is no such threshold value. So that is based on your algorithm. That is based on your algorithm. Suppose if in a item bar you are having more than 6,000 people, suppose if for 6,000 people, if you want face recognition, you can go for deep learning. If you suppose if your mobile just now sort out only 2-3 images, then you can
my doubt is only simple. Deep learning and machine learning, compared to deep learning, will give best results. That is the reason we go for deep learning algorithms or for maximum data set,
if you have more number of data, if you have large data, if you apply it in machine learning, the performance may not go. If amount of data is more, then only we will go for deep learning. And wherever you require automatic classification tasks, then only you can go for deep learning. So some applications or FDP is somewhat related to the speech processing, speech signal processing. Here some very good examples of deep learning in speech signal processing. You can see we are using Apple iPhone, Siri and Alexa voice assistants. That is also one of the automatic speech recognition systems. In automatic speech recognition systems, you can use deep learning. Similarly, voice-based authentication or access. Suppose if you give voice as your input to recognize. So these systems also you can go with deep learning. Emotion recognition based on speech. So these are some applications. Speech sense, text to speech converters. We have text to speech converters and speech to text converters. We can use deep learning. Here all the applications, here the input is the speech signal. Speech signal is a one-dimensional signal. If you observe this, here one-dimensional signal. If you give one-dimensional signals to this deep learning, so your final outcome is like this. So speech enhancement, improving speech quality in acoustic environments. So present the research is going on. How to improve speech quality in acoustic environments. Next, speech to speech translation. Suppose we have different applications, speech to speech, nothing but language translation. If I am talking in Telugu, it may convert it into English. In future, these type of systems are developed. Voice conversion systems, dubbing there, suppose. In case of dubbing there, also these are all best part of speech signal processing applications. If you want to do PhD or if you want to do any MTech project, you can prefer these applications. So these are perfectly suitable for speech signal processing. With that network, you can go for pre-trained. That is called as transfer learning. If you see the image, if you have, so these layers, they automatically, some persons already developed. Some persons already developed one network. They trained millions of images to that network, right? So if suppose if I want to use this network to my application, so my application is nothing but cancerous or non-cancerous, right? So there is already a predefined network which is already trained with millions of images, layers also adjusted by them only. So I will take that network. I want to use that network for my application. Then what I will do? First I will load the pre-trained network. First I will take that network. Then I will replace the binary layers. So here my task is binary classification. So as per binary classification, I have to modify the last layers. Only last layers. There is a chance for only modifying the last layers, right? So here I want, suppose if I use it for binary classification, so as per binary classifications, I want to change only the last layers. Suppose if it is multi-class classification, so according to my application, I will change only the last layers, remaining all layers already pre-trained. Then I will train the network. So I have replaced the last layers, the network design is completed. Then what I will do, I will train it with my cancer images. My application is either cancer or not a cancer. I have some images. So I trained the network, already predefined network is there. I modified only the last layers. I trained with my images. Right, your network is trained. Your deep learning network is learned, trained. Then what I can do, then I will give a test image. So once the network is trained, if I give the image, if I give the test image, then what it may show whether it is a cancerous or non-cancerous. So some predefined network is there. For fast and easy purpose, I can use ready-made. I can use the ready-made network. I will replace the last layers as per my application. I trained the network, I tested the network, I got some accuracy. So that is called as transfer learning. So somebody has developed, you transferred your application to that network, that's why it is called as transfer learning. It is fast and easy. This is one process of deep learning. See, if you see the next slide, if you see from the next slide, this is training from scratch and this is for transfer learning. Suppose there is a network with zero bias and zero weight. Suppose the network is not trained, the network is not a predefined. Suppose if I train with multiple images, it is called as training from scratch. So your weights, your biases may randomly selected. That is called as training from scratch. Suppose I have a ready-made network, that is called as pre-trained CNN. If I trained pre-trained CNN with my images, then I test the images, then it will say either it is core or trained. This is called as transfer learning. So somebody has developed. So as per your convenience, you have replaced the layers and you have trained your network, trained the predefined network, and you have tested. So that is called as transfer learning. Here there are different transfer learning predefined techniques are there. Here AlexaNet, VGG, GoogleNet. I think some of you already listened about these networks. These are already predefined. We cannot modify all the layers. We have a chance to modify the last classification layers as per your requirement. So these are the examples: ResNet, AlexaNet, VGG, GoogleNet, DenseNet, MobileNet. So these are all predefined CNN. These are called as predefined CNN. So you, as per your application, you can use this predefined CNNs. Next, suppose if you want to customize the deep learning network. So suppose I want to choose, these are my first layers, these are my second layers, these are my third layers. If you build your deep learning network like this, then this is called as customized CNN. So what type of layers it have? What type of layers available? How to arrange the layers? We will see. So there are three different types of layers in CNN, convolutional neural network. The first one is convolutional layer, pooling layer, and fully connected layer. These are the major layers in convolutional neural network. So convolutional layer, you can use either 1D, 2D. If it is a signal, you can use 1D convolutional layer. If it is an image, two-dimensional inputs, you can go for 2D. If it is a video also, you can add a 3D. So then the next layer is pooling layer. Here you can use either max pooling layer or average. Then the last layer is called as fully connected layer. If anybody asks a question what is CNN means, CNN is a combination of convolution layer, pooling layer, and fully connected layer. If you see these three layers, that is called as convolutional neural network. So what is convolution layer? We know already we teaching signal processing and like these subjects. So convolution is nothing but overlapping. So you have an input. If you use convolution layer, so convolution layer may overlap, may take some portion of your input. So that you can see this is your input. This is your so here I can say convolution layer is called as convolutional filter. So here I can map only some portion of the input as an output. You can use multiple number of convolution layers. So based on your input, you can choose multiple number of convolutional filters. That is based on your input image, input data, right? See, I have a black and white image with zeros and ones. Suppose I have 6 by 6. I will give you one example. 6 by 6 image. Suppose these are my convolution filters. Suppose if I want to use convolution filters with 3 by 3 candle. So this is convolution filter 1 and this is convolution filter 2. This is your input. So how I map these convolution layers to the input, you can see. Right, here convolution filters of order 3 by 3. Just you can keep in mind 6 by 6 is my image size. Your convolution filter size is 3 by 3. So how it perform convolution, you can see. Right, so this is the filter, convolution filter, which maps the first portion, and make a dot product 1 into 1. If you see this, make a dot product element by element. So 3 by 3 will maps with the portion of your image. See, if you multiply 1 into 1, see only diagonal is having ones. So as per our convenience, I have taken this type of image. See 1, 1, 1 remaining all zeros. So 1 into 1, 1 into 1 and 1 into 1 will give 3. Next, see this is stride 1. So what are stride 2? We will see. So stride 1 means, so you will see this, your filter is moving towards the right only one step, only one column, right? So that's why it is called as stride 1. If it is stride 2 means your filter moves 2 portions away. If stride 3 means your convolution filters will map 3 portions away of your input image, right? So again it will do dot product. See element by element it will multiply. So it is the answer is -1. Suppose if you take stride 2, then what will happen? You can just observe the red portion outline. It will goes to 2, it will shift the 2 portions. So it leaves 2 portions. Stride 1 means it starts from here and stride 2 means it moves away 2 columns. So I will keep on stride 1. This is my first, this is my second, and after applying convolution filter, it may like this, -1. So same process when it goes to down. So totally, right. So finally your 6 by 6 image, after applying convolution, what will happen? It convert into 4 by 4. This is called as output shape of the convolution layer. So your input size is 6 by 6. Once you applied convolution filter, then your size is replaced to 4 by 4. So 6 minus 3 plus 1 is the formula for your output shape. So input size minus filter kernel plus 1. It shows the edges, right? So coming to the filter 2. So when I apply filter 2, your output image is converted again 4 by 4. 6 minus 3 plus 1 is your output shape. Suppose if I use more number of convolution filters, right? You can use any number of convolution filters that is based on your network design. So these are called as, the outputs of the convolution layer is called as feature map. So what is my feature map size? 4 by 4 is my feature map size. Right? 2 4 by 4 images form. So here I am using only 2 filters. So 2 filters into 4 by 4 is my size of the output shape. 2 filters, 2 convolution filters, and your output shape is translated to 4 by 4. So please keep on this mind. So next going to the max pooling layer. So it is nothing but, if you see, suppose if I want to use down, so in signal processing we are using down sampling, right? So this is also similar to the down sampling. So still I want to reduce my feature size, then I will go for max pooling. So what max pooling will do? So this image output is nothing but about this convolution filter, and this is the output for this convolution filter, when I go for pooling with kernel size is 2 by 2, it chooses the first 4 elements portion and second 4 elements portion like this. So it is a max pooling means it may choose only the maximum value in this boundary. See, so max pooling with the kernel size is 2 comma 2 suppose, then it will map like this, and max pooling, so name itself it may give only the maximum value. So what is the maximum value here? 3 minus 1 minus 3 1, so it may choose only 3. So here minus 3 minus 1 0 minus 3 0, right? So this is 3 and this is 0, this is 3, and all filters may choose only the maximum value. So similarly the second filter. So why we require pooling? Why we want to downsampling? So suppose if this is my input image, suppose I apply pooling, it may just convert like this. So original information may not lost, just the size has been replaced. Just the size has been replaced, but original information is remains same. So that's why you can use pooling as per your input image type, input image size or input image type, whatever it is. Then you can choose pooling proper. So what happens? This is your 6 by 6 image. So once you apply convolution layer, it may 4 by 4. Once you apply max pooling, then it may output shape is 2 by 2. So finally your 6 by 6 image may convert it into 2 by 2 image. So this image is smaller, but it may reflect, just now in previous slide we seen the bird image. When you apply pooling, original information may not be lost, just the size has been replaced, that's all. Right, suppose if I take an image, so this cat image, so my aim is to classify either cat or dog. First you can apply cat image, it may perform convolution, max pooling, convolution. You can use multiple times, convolution, max pooling, convolution, max pooling, you can use multiple times. That is based on your requirement. So convolution, max pooling, a new image is generated, smaller than the original. The number of channels, suppose if you maintain more number of channels, furtherly your image got transformed, right? So next coming to the flattening. So here still your 6 by 6 may convert into 2 by 2. So I want to make 2 by 2 in a single column. So then you can go for flattening layer. So in last slide I have shown these two by 2 images, and once you apply flattening, then what will happen? It may convert it into a single column. So it may convert it into one dimensional vector. So your 2 by 2 image and one more 2 by 2 image is converted into this vector. So then connect this flattened values to your fully connected layers. So fully connected layer is nothing but, so each neuron is connected with all other neurons. So this is fully connected network. This is your output. Right. See, suppose I want to classify whether it is cat or dog in CNN. You can upload some image. So you can use convolution pooling that are called number of channels. So that is based on your requirement. So finally your 2 by 2 images, two by 2 images are flattened in a single row, in a single column. The flattened output is given to fully connected layer, then output layer may give it is a cat or dog. Suppose if you want to develop a Python program, what I said the same, then you can follow these steps. So first you can install Keras library. So we will talk about in later slides. See. So here, so 3 by 3, so convolution filter. So here this is a code for Python in deep learning to design a convolution layer. Convolution 2D means it is for image. So this 25 represents number of convolution filters, and this 3, 3 represents filter kernel 3 by 3 kernel. So what is your input shape? Your image size is 28 by 28. So your aim is applying convolution layer 25 filters with a 3 by 3 kernel. So this one represents, it is a black and white image. So it is 1 for black and white image and it is 3 for color image. Right. See, 25, 3, 3. Right. So what it means? 25, 3, 3. What it means? There are 25 3 by 3 convolution filters. It means 25 convolution filters of 3 by 3 type. So your input shape, first your input shape image size is 28, 28 by 28. So one represents it is a black and white image. Right. Black and white. And if it is 3 for color image. Then go for, so how to apply convolution layer? So this is the program. So how to apply max pooling, right? So then what is the next layer I want to add is max pooling. So max pooling 2 dimensional is represents for 2D inputs. So 2 comma 2. So 2 comma 2 means it may select first 2 elements as row and 2 elements as a column. Right. So this already selected, and max pooling means only one value is selected. So first your input size is 28 by 28. So this one represents it is a black and white or grayscale. So once you apply this code, your output shape is converted 25 into 26 into 26. Just now I told input shape minus kernel plus 1. 28 minus 3 plus 1 is your output shape. Next, after max pooling, it may divided by 2. So 26 divided by 2, 25 into 13 into 13. See, 25 into 13 into 13 elements. So next, again convolution. Again convolution. Your output shape is transformed to. So here number of filters is 50. So here is 3 means 13 minus 3 plus 1. 11. 11 by 11 it is converted. Then after max pooling, what will happen? 11 by 2, around 5. 50 into 5 into 5. So this is my input image. After I apply convolution pooling, your output shape is converted into 1 by 28 into 28 is converted into 50 into 5 into 5. Right? So then flattened. So what you will do, you make this 50 into 5 into 5 by a single column vector, right? So 50 into 5 into 5, if you add flattened layer, it may convert 2 dimensional into 1 dimension. So 50 into 5 into 5, so there are 1250 elements in flattened layer. So if you apply the output of flattened layer to the fully connected feed-forward network, then your output may give about either prediction or classification. So if you want to use customized deep learning network, you have to choose your own layers. If you want to use CNN, you can use convolution layer, pooling layer, as well as flattened layer and fully connected layer. So this is the code for fully connected layer. So dense, so in Python, in Keras library, dense layer is called as fully connected layer. So you can develop code like this: model.add means so these layers are added. Right here, you can prefer some activation functions are there to get your neuron. Suppose if your neuron get activated, you have to use activation functions. So this is also based on your choice. So here the last layer is called as activation softmax layer. So softmax layer is generally used for multi-class classification. If you want to classify more than 2 inputs, then you can use softmax as your last layer's activation function. If it is binary classification, you can go with sigmoid. There are a lot of activation functions are available. So whatever I am telling all these. So how to you develop in Python? Just I will quickly refer all these things. So first these are the different steps how to write a program in Python. Understanding about the structure of the input data, that is very, very important. So just now I told data is very, very important in machine learning and deep learning applications. First you have to analyze whether it is a labeled data or unlabeled data or balanced data or not a balanced data. First you have to analyze. Pre-processing text if any required. You have to do pre-processing. Suppose your signal is having some noise or artifacts effect, or your image is also suffering with some effect, some errors, or there's something, you have to apply pre-processing. So you have to clean your output, clean your data set first. The first thing is you have to pre-process your data set. So then number of classes. Then you have to identify the number of classes. So here you can say whether it is a binary classification or multi-class classification or multi-label classification. That is also based on the number of classes. Then identify the required packages for the implementation. So every one of you know already Python is an open source software. If you want to develop deep learning, you have to import different libraries. So Python is a library dependent. So if you want to use deep learning, you have to identify what package is supporting deep learning, right? So then experiment with different architectures for better classification performance. So once you uploaded libraries, once you started coding, then you test your predictive model and you have to verify your performance. So if performance is not good, then you have to tune your network. So deep learning network training is very important. So once your model is not giving sufficient performance, then again you have to go for fine tuning. Again you have to go fine tuning, adjust the different hyperparameters for better outputs. So these are the steps for implementation of classification problems. The first step, you have a data set. So divide the data set into training and testing. So in data science or machine learning or deep learning, suppose if you have a data, take more data for training and take training data should be always greater than the testing data. Suppose I have 100 samples, so I can say 70-30, 70% I will use for training and remaining 30 I can use for testing, or you can go 80-20 or 90-10, whatever it is, that is based on your requirement. So train the classified using training data set. So we have these 80% of the training data. So design a deep learning network and train your network using the training data. So once the training is completed, then you go for testing. So 70% data we use it for training. So remaining 30% you can use for testing. So after testing, you have some performance metric. If it is good, you can use. Otherwise, you can go for fine tuning. You can search for methods how to improve your accuracy. So in classification problems, the majority is nothing but classification accuracy. If your accuracy is good, you can leave. If you want to improve accuracy, you can go for fine parameters tuning. So you can search for methods how to improve the accuracy. So what I told, so split the data into training and testing. So train the model on training set. So we all discussed in previous steps.
Coming sir, tea break.
Okay.
5 minutes.
So we'll discuss methodology after 5 minutes.